future millionaires.
And come get rich with us. You gon' eat or you gon' starve.
Welcome to the Tea of the Future Millionaires. It's your host again today, Meesha. Today, I have a special guest. MJ, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, girl. So excited to be on.
Oh, thanks. So
I appreciate
tell
it.
me a little bit about yourself, where you came from, what you do.
Okay. I could do that just a little bit.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. It's your girl, MJ. What I do here in the Georgia area is I have a podcast of my own, as told by MJ. You can subscribe and like on Hip Hop Network TV. And I model here as well. If you need a host for a fashion show, I am your hostess with the mostest. So, yeah, I am from upstate New York, Albany. What's up? And just trying to make an impact here on the Georgia area.
Okay. So as far as it's good coming from somebody that hosts experience.
Yeah.
So being here, how long you been here?
Only 2 years.
Okay. So being new here, because we fairly new, I've been here 3 years. Being new here, what is some of the challenges as hosting, when you hosting, that you find?
People try to play with your intelligence.
Okay.
I used to do, when I first moved here, I didn't know nothing about hosting. I was modeling, and so people was just telling me, oh, you should get into it, you got the voice. So when I started getting into it, it was a lot of clubs and stuff like that. And then I was thinking I was going to be able to be on the mic, but they was like, oh, looking for a host, and they would have like 5 different 10 chicks on like one, and I realized I didn't want to do that no more.
Okay.
So then when I started shooting my shot, I started shooting my shot with fashion shows.
Okay.
Because I modeled. So I'm like, okay, well, look, next year if you need a host, just give me the shot and I'll do it. Some people probably didn't know if I could do it or not, but I still pushed it. And
Right.
so my first show, it was like probably a couple months me getting in here. As soon as I moved here, my first show was probably like 4 or 5 months, my first fashion show. And then I talked to a couple photographers and I'm like, if you ever have another show, let me host it. It was kind of fairly easy if you push it, but just don't let people play with your intelligence. Like, I could do this. Like, even though I don't know if I could do this, but I could do this. Like.
Right. And that's like on the hosting side of like pop-up shops for us. That's how, like, we like real lit. So it's not like you walking into the ordinary. If you've been to a pop-up shop here, it's
Of
not
course.
like the ordinary pop-up shop. Like, we on a mic, we got
Having
a real
fun.
DJ, we having fun,
Mhm.
we having dance songs, we
As
doing
you should.
all kind of stuff. But a lot of people I run into, you have that environment with people that some people like, oh, they too lit, they too lit. But
I be
it's
too
all
lit
about how-
myself. That's the problem. If
But
you too
that's
die
part of
down,
it.
I don't like to die down.
Yeah.
I like to turn up. That was my problem. I couldn't model in the back because I'm sitting in the back and I'm ADHD. I want to drink. I want to have a good time, but be able to walk that walk. And once I realized I could do that, I'm like, I don't want to sit back here no more. I want to be turned in the front. I want to get people lit like me. So
Yeah, and that's like one of the challenges I think with some people. They think hosting, like, to me, I look at people that don't get on a mic or anything. You're just an event planner, right? Because you're just planning the event and
Talk
nobody
about
know
it.
who you are in the background.
Right.
A host gets on the mic, they keep the crowd engaged.
Right.
You have
it's never
to
a
do
dull
that.
moment ever.
Right. But a downside of it is that, like, in Atlanta, it's big. So a lot of people been here for years and they have more clout. So now it's like you got to push yourself 10 times harder.
You got to.
And then there's some people like, well, why should I pay you? Why should I pay you
Right.
when I can get this person, or your name is really not
That's so
known?
yeah, people do that. I got that too. But you
Yeah.
gonna pay me though, because I bet that when they charging you an arm and a leg, I'm charging you nowhere near that. You gonna get me for the whole show, lit for the whole show, and it's like nah. Like I know people do that, but it's like it's just a risk we gonna have to take.
Right. And that was like one of the conversations. Like, I did a live last night and I was talking about people, like, somebody had to tell me, like in the last week, a lot of people been telling me, like, Meesha, because I do a lot. I mentor.
As you should.
I teach business credit. Like,
Period.
I coach them.
Yeah.
Then I come in and I actually, like, I spend time, intellectual time with, like, really getting to know these people and,
So
like,
dope.
uplifting them.
Yeah, as
so
you
it's like a
should.
motivational speaker. And then I'm like, I also write grants. So, like, I'm in a group with some, like, real
Heavy
live
hitters.
yeah, they
Heavy
heavy
hitters.
hitters.
Yeah.
Like, we in a group. And I was brought into like a group as being an expert with stuff. So
Dope.
sitting in front of these other people and I'm listening to them talk and I'm like,
Yeah, I gotta get on there.
I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I'm ashamed to even tell them, like, they talking about what they getting paid and they getting paid close to 20 racks on stuff.
Right. You
I'm
like, I'm just now touching the rim.
Yeah, I'm like, I ain't even touching the rim. I'm
Right.
like, and so then I had like private message one of the ladies because we both write grants and she was dropping gems on me and she was like, she was like, you getting coins. She was like, you getting pennies.
Right.
Like, for real. She like, you gotta boss up. Like,
For
and
real.
my mentor had just told me that like a couple of days ago. He had called me and we had like an actual, with my grant writing, we have like
Dope.
everybody on the call. So it's like 17, 20 people on the call. So we on the call and he like, Meesha, I want to talk to you after this is over with. And I'm like, all right, cool. So he called me like immediately after. I don't even think he probably hung up.
Wow.
So when he called me, he was like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, huh? He was like, I sent somebody to you. And I kind of figured it was coming because he do it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I sent somebody to you. And I just wanted to see, like, he asked them like all the questions that they had asked me.
Right.
And he was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why are you, because I write business plans. He was like, you spending all night writing people business plans for $150? He was like, those business plans, $800-900, and that's the bare minimum. It's people out here
Because people
charging,
can't do that.
Yeah, he's
That's
like,
the
"These
hard
people
work."
out here charging $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Then you get to, it was confirmation. I'm listening to these people in a group. Some of them are mentors with business credit, and they getting a bag.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying the same thing. Like, if you can't accept somebody payment or you can't do it, then they gotta move on.
Next person.
Next person. She and when I was talking to her, I was like, Dad, I'm charging these people $3,500 to write a grant. She come in talking about she charged $10K. She ain't writing it till she get to $10K.
Because you know they're going to make that times two. So it's like you might as well charge them
Yeah,
that.
she was like, if
especially
I'ma
the
go,
time.
And she said it goes back to your target audience.
Yeah.
And that's even like on your podcast and stuff. You don't get a lot of people that want to like and they don't want to subscribe.
Ooh, girl, talk
and
about
they
it.
might take it personal because they look at it like, oh, she might be getting to this, and if I like this, like, they'll go and watch it.
Envy is crazy.
Right.
And it's sometimes they just envy you because of the person that you are. They don't even have a reason. They got their own blessings. Like, God's blessing them in their own way, but they're not taking off the way you taking off. And some people just really envy you because of the fact that they want to be where you're at. They don't have the time to put into themselves. They too busy envying people, and that's why they are where they're at. Like,
but I'm just like, everybody, and then you look at it, some people don't want you to grow. They don't want anything, even with your podcast, if you on YouTube or whatever, they know once you hit that certain number, you're going to start getting paid for it.
Right.
So then they looking at like, oh, she going to get paid, but I ain't getting paid. And I mean, to me, I look at it now like everybody's in the game to get something.
you going to get something.
Whether entrepreneurship,
Yep.
whatever it is, we all
Exposure.
God place everybody here for some way, some form,
Exactly.
somehow. But some people, it's just like that's what they spend their time doing. Or I know you probably had this, like being in Atlanta. I learned. I've never been one to, you know how you got some people that be like, they don't even know you, but they're like, oh, I don't rock with her. And then they homegirl like, oh, I don't rock with her either.
Yeah.
But deep down inside,
You really
a
want to be
dope
my
person.
friend.
Yeah,
Right. You
like,
really want to be my friend. It's okay.
Right. So it's like, why? Now, let me ask you another question. With podcasts, do you charge them to be on?
No, not
You
yet.
don't?
Not yet.
But you will eventually, right?
Yeah.
And I tell people ask all the time, they like, well, if you have a podcast, why I got to pay to be on there? I'm like,
Because you get exposure.
right.
And that's what you want.
And some of them, they just think like, oh, this is a free game.
I mean, some people tell me I go above and beyond for my podcasters, because I do. You know what I'm saying? I kind of provide a lot of stuff. So they're just like, my boyfriend be like, you just doing too much. You should be charging them for the stuff that I do, like drinks and stuff. I'm making drinks, and alcohol ain't cheap. And then I'm doing y'all like 2-3 y'all in a day. I gotta give all 3 y'all different drinks because it look like we doing 3 different days. Then I got food and I got stuff like that. And it's just like, you should charge them for that. At least $20. That ain't gonna kill you. $20.
Do they
ain't gonna
tip
kill
you?
No, I just do it because that's what I was doing before. My podcast I had before was Tipsy Topics.
Okay.
And so I was providing drinks and making crazy drinks that I found online and stuff like that. And I just kept it going. And it's just like now I was at home, so it was like it wasn't really bad. But now I'm in a whole location and stuff like that. So probably should like $20 won't be something too crazy.
So let me ask you: is yours like a podcast, or is it like through an independent radio station or something?
It's a podcast.
Okay.
I have my own setup. Hip Hop Network TV is my sponsor, so they like get the whole cameraman they set up. But it's just like a podcast. I sit down, I ask people questions. I tap in. It's just like what you're doing right now, getting entrepreneurs on. But I just started shooting my shot with people here in the Georgia area and just started getting them on. But it didn't start there. It started in my backyard.
Okay.
And I started interviewing people in my backyard with my phone. And I'm like, people was coming and like, deep, like, I want to come on the podcast. I'm new to podcast, and I met you in a club one night and you was lit, or I met you at a show and you was turned, and they would come on. I was like, dang, y'all coming. I mean, literally, you could see the quality.
Okay.
Terrible. It was like, oh my God. And I literally just started dropping my first episode on Hip Hop Network TV last Tuesday. So I was doing my backyard in my house. I was just doing it all over my crib.
Okay.
And then it just started here. Like, so yeah.
See, and that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like, people don't really realize it, how hard it is. And even with like in the podcast world, it's like hard because you got to keep engagement with people.
You do.
But one thing that really bothers me, and I tell people all the time, is the tearing down other women.
Yeah, don't do that.
That
don't
really
like that.
bothers me.
That's not something I can do. I
Yeah,
can't sit.
I can't do
like
that.
Kevin Samuels?
Yeah. Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for the day that I get a call or I decide to sit down and try to get into that conversation with him, but I can't.
Yeah, but
mentally I can.
Yeah, it's like you get a lot. I see a lot, and Facebook can start. Social media itself
crazy
can get you into some stuff. It can definitely get you into some stuff that can go left or it can go right.
Exactly.
Either way you choose to do it. But I tell people, like, I watch certain people like podcasts, and some of it I be like, dag, like, how can you talk about somebody else and we both doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Or like in our world, we in the pop-up shop world, so in our world it's like a competition. Like, everybody want to keep up with the next person. Like, I can honestly say for Future Millionaires, we did everything, so we like, y'all can have it. We want to
and
something
pop-up shops
new.
are the bomb. Like, they're the bomb.
But it's
I love
like
those.
saturated because everybody wants to do it.
Yeah.
So we're at a point where we're like, all right, it's time for us to go on another wave.
Yeah.
But it's other people that like you said earlier, they really deep down inside don't like you, and they don't even have a reason to like you because they don't even know 10 things about you. It's probably based on what somebody has told them.
So y'all don't even know my name.
Yeah, I could tell you my name is Meesha, but you don't know. You ain't seen my birth certificate before. I could tell you anything.
I'm like, my name MJ. Do you really know my real name? That's where I started it. When rumors started, I was like, I gotta switch it up, because if somebody say something about me and they don't even know my name, I know it's a lie. Because you don't even know me enough to even know my real name, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't.
See,
you're like, MJ. If I tell my real name to me, I'm like, what? Who's that?
Right.
That's what I need, because you don't even know who I am to be even starting a rumor.
Yeah, and that's the way you gotta keep it, but it's also like it could be a lot of growth with podcasts if people apply it, and some of them don't think about like the time you take. You see how you say you make them drinks, you make them feel like they at home, comfortable, and a lot of people don't do that. It's like podcasters can go a long way. Everybody can make a bag off of it,
right? And you don't. It's
just
nothing wrong
like
with paying for it, right? It's not wrong with paying for it. Like, some of them.
Yeah, like for real, some of them. I ain't saying like pay for some.
I'll pay for like 85 South Shore or something like that.
Listen,
I'll pay for that. What's up?
Yeah, I'm like, I was like that too. I'm like, and some of the people, like, I was even like, I always said I wanted to be on like the Breakfast Club because they be like sounding dope, and I'm like, I want to be on there with them.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah, like, oh y'all, come get us,
please.
Like,
you want to be one of them? Get on here.
Yeah, and it's like we in the place, like, seriously, we in Atlanta, and it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of like celebrities that you run into like on an everyday basis. So the more
I love the celebrities.
yeah, like the more you get out and the more, and I tell entrepreneurs that I'm like, step outside the box sometime. Look outside. Social media is not, because half of the time our social media platform, the audience we got on there is either family, friends, somebody went to school with.
Or somebody hating on us.
Or somebody hating on us watching. Now they got the little following now. You ain't gotta like nobody,
No,
like it.
that's
You can
me.
follow.
That's me.
Yeah, you could just follow their page. You don't really gotta like them.
You don't.
So I tell people all the time. So what are some things that you like being in the podcast world that you're challenging like right now?
Right now what I'm challenging is trying to stick with the script. I freestyle every last one of my podcasts. And it's because I can't sit. I'm ADHD.
Okay.
So a lot of people that suffer from adult ADHD, we gotta connect, girl, because it's serious. And when I'm sitting and I'm reading, it's like my mind goes somewhere else. It's not really focused on the paperwork. So just trying to stay consistent with reading off my paper, like my questions and stuff. I literally do my whole podcast without even reading that paper. Just, it looks good, basically. But I never used it. So that's one. And just building my brand higher and higher, not giving up on it, too. Sometimes when I'm just like, I really don't want to go and interview. Like, I really don't want to do nothing. I just got off work. I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's pushing myself to be like, okay, even though I don't want to do it, I need to get up and still do it, you know? So that, too. Just keeping myself motivated. Even if it's just one person coming, 2 people coming, how many people come, just keep myself motivated, even if nobody comes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So what do you do in the event nobody comes?
I talk about up and coming events that's going on in Georgia. I talk about, like, I do a Taco Tuesday a lot.
Okay.
So I go to a lot of Taco Tuesday places that do deals, like Views Atlanta or Barber Bistro and stuff like that, and go get the food. I talk about that. Motivate people. That's probably just going through what I'm going through right now. Feeling what I feel and talking about what I feel right now. Like,
so how has it been for you since we had this pandemic? How was it for you, like, as far as like with the podcast world? Was you still doing it virtually, or?
So I moved here right when the pandemic hit.
Okay.
Like the pandemic hit, I moved.
Okay.
So when I moved here, I didn't know nobody. I moved here just me, my dog, and a suitcase.
Okay.
And so I didn't even know anybody here. And I wasn't podcasting here during that time. I was modeling. Okay. So it was more hard it was actually easy. It kind of blew up because I was going out by myself, going to events by myself, and talking to people like, yo, you need a model? Like, you a photographer? I'm a model. Let's work something out.
Okay.
Started building my brand. And then when it started with podcasting, it was a crazy opportunity. I shot my shot with pregame radio in Brooklyn, New York, and it was virtual.
Okay.
And so now that was dope. I became a co-host on there, and I'm like, I just want to do my own podcast. They gave me my own segment.
That's good.
So that was actually really dope. And then it wasn't really tough because I'm a person that can talk to anybody. I'll go out and be like, yo, I'm turned. People love my energy. I don't know what it is. Shout out to everybody. Like, I just love to have fun. I love to have fun. I really don't want to sit there. I'm not a person that like to sit on the wall. I like to just turn up. So when I meet people, I'm like, let me get your story. I got a podcast. You end up telling me you do music, you do whatever. I just want to bring you on. I'm up and coming, so excuse that it's not what you might think it's going to be. Like, I didn't have no mics. I didn't have anything.
Okay.
So I was just telling people like, yo, you just get an interview. You get the exposure. You can get some pictures, whatever you need for your brand, and we could do that. And so it wasn't really tough. But I could see it could be tough for somebody that's an introvert that want to stay in the crib and don't want to go out. Like me, I literally moved here and I didn't let up. Like, I was going out, meeting people. If you had some type of networking event, entrepreneur event, anything like that, I was going. Like, I was just out, booked and busy by myself.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing, because it's a lot of people that are like introverts and they want to be entrepreneurs, but it's hard to be an entrepreneur if you're an introvert and you can't get outside of certain things, or you don't want to deal with a customer, because that's part of the game. If you're an entrepreneur, unless you got a couple mil put away, you
talk
good.
About it.
Yeah, like, you can't do it. So, and I tell people, a lot of people that I run into, they start doing stuff, and then, like, I know you probably seen it, like, a month later you go back and you like,
they're not doing it no more.
Yeah.
Girl, yes.
Even like services, like, I'm like in a couple of, like, when I moved here, I didn't know, like, a stylist or anything, so I'm trying to like find new everything, nail tech, stylists,
Everything.
and I try to go towards supporting my people. And like I was in this group and I was just getting fed up. I'm like, I had got scammed like 3 times.
Girl.
And I'm like, where do you go when you want to do that? Like, which avenue do you go to?
Oh, I got scammed a couple times too. Well, tried to for apartments. I had people try to do that for cribs. Thank God they ain't getting no more than like $50 from me for application fee. That's it. But where I went to Facebook groups too.
Okay.
I actually joined networking in Atlanta.
Okay.
I joined.
I'm in that one.
Friends in Atlanta. I love that group. I met some dope girls out of there.
Okay.
I actually did a girls' night last month. Well, and my friends was like, "That's crazy," but I did a whole friends' night. I didn't know anybody in my crib except for my 2 roommates, and it was 15 girls in there. Good vibes, good energy. We did anything but a cup party, and all black, and everybody came with, thank God, good vibes, cause.
Okay.
Ooh, so I met some dope people in there, but and I did what's one more? Finding cribs. I did apartments in Atlanta. It was kind of tough. You gotta be on your P's and Q's, but I guess I just did that way and word of mouth. So my hair look good. It's like, girl, where you get them braids done at? They look good. Where you get them done at? They'll either tell you or they not.
Right.
You feel me? I had a brush cut and I couldn't find a barber. Hence my hair is growing out. I couldn't find a barber. I couldn't find somebody that wasn't either gonna charge me over, because I get men's cut. I was getting men's cuts, so they were charging me like $50 for a
Yes.
I'm like, whoa. I'm like, I'm at home. I only pay $20 for my haircuts.
Yeah.
If I want a design or something like that, probably $25. Bro, you charging me $50 for a cut, like, and I had to let my hair grow out because I couldn't find a barber.
That's funny you said that, because when people was telling me that, like, oh, a haircut is $50 in Atlanta,
Whoa.
I was like, $50 for what? Like, what are you doing? That's like a style.
I interviewed a barber and he's in Mobile, Alabama. Make Me Fresh, shout out to him, and he charged $100 for his haircuts.
100?
He be doing like all the people that stopped through, like, Blue from there. So you go to him. We all went to school together.
Okay.
And then, Rilo, anybody that stops through, they stop in there. Like, and they pay $100. And there's people that literally like live there that probably the minimum pay $80 for their haircut.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, his price is his price.
His price is because he said what he said. There's nothing wrong with charging, right?
Yeah,
sometimes you go on a limb, you're gonna lose mad people if you charge, but you're gonna gain mad people if you charge. Like,
and you're gonna gain the respect from people.
Right.
Like, you're gonna get that respect from people for charging that a price. But you gotta set a price, because it'll start to wing out the audience that you're dealing with. It'll start to wing out friends. It definitely will start wing out family, because family, they the main ones. So some of them ain't trying to support. They think everything for free.
Everything free.
So it's like, and even you still got the people that's here. I'm like, you an entrepreneur. I was talking to somebody and they was telling me, they was like, well, such and such told me, like, they don't read. Like, I know you probably seen it because everybody see it on Facebook. It's like, I had got like an article the other day, and I had already read the article, knew what it's about. People was asking me, they was like, well, the House just passed a bill, they gonna give some extra money. I was like, listen, it just went through the House, all right? It has not went to the Senate. It's not been, it's ain't official.
We ain't get there yet.
We ain't there yet, all right? It ain't the PPP loan, that is dead.
I wish I would have signed on that one.
I'm like, it's dead.
Should have signed
up.
And
I tell people, I tell them that because I'm like, it's so much funded out here. If you read, then you got all these people in these groups. It's so easy for them to get got. Like, I was talking to somebody and they was like, I gave somebody $8,000 and they told me they was gonna give me $20,000. Come on, let's be realistic. Like, why are you sending somebody something that you haven't even talked to nobody on the phone? You don't even know this person, so
people
you
that was
comfortable.
getting scammed on Instagram too.
Yeah,
for their bank account. I'm like, why?
You don't know these people, so it's okay for them to take. Or the big one, let me turn $300 into $3,000. Like, let's be real. Listen, come on.
They scam enough in New York. I already knew about that before I already knew it was hitting on, so I never fell for that one.
Right.
Never fell for that one. Y'all crazy. They crazy. I don't know.
So yeah, like the world that we living in, people not reading. It's just like, oh, let me send my money, and just they like giving away. And then the real people that's doing something, they get mad when you tell them and you're talking to them. You're hearing my voice. You're talking to them. But I had, on the bright side, like I had a call today, and it was like funny because I had called one of my girls that I mentor. I just started mentoring her, and today was our first call, and it was like early this morning. And she said, Meesha, she said, I was excited. And I was like, why? She was like, because when you called my phone, it said Future Millionaires. I was like, for real? She was like, yeah, it said. She was like, hype. She was like, and she said she had been watching me and my cousin the whole time for a long time. Dope. And she was like, you know, I always, and I could tell the sincere because she was like happy to be around it. And I'm like, dang, I wish I could have everybody like this all the time. But you know, it ain't always like that. If you don't got one problem, you ain't got none.
Exactly. Talk about it. But where can people go? Because some people don't know where to go to look for, like, you know, assistance.
They can, is a number of places. They can go on to whatever state they live on. They can go there and look up assistance for. They can look at small business grants. Now, the thing I tell them is you still got to have somebody do the business plan. You got to have a grant proposal, and you definitely got to have a grant pitch. For the little small grants, you got to have a pitch. And I don't mean a pitch that's, that's what it's like.
It's like Shark Tank.
And you got to make
Shark
it,
Tank.
and you got to make, that's what it reminds me of. So when I'm writing people pitches, I think outside of the box. I'm not just thinking, because they ask you little tricky questions. Like I had one I was doing, and it said, if we gave you this $15K, what are 3 things that you would do with this money? You know, the first thing everybody gonna say is they're gonna invest. They're going to get some more product. They're going to expand. But you know, don't nobody ever say, and I was looking at like people prior stuff, because like you can look in the portals and look at other people's stuff, like the common things. And you know what all of them were saying?
What?
All of them were saying revenue. I just need some more revenue. Why would somebody give you something they don't know what you're going to do with it?
Right.
So I'm thinking outside of the box, and I'm looking at all these responses. One response I ain't never see was more employees. But it's like they're gonna take that versus somebody saying revenue, expand, because you being selfish. But if you go to somebody and say, I'm looking outside of the box, in my eyes, I'm going to expand, but you got 3 things. I'm going to hire some more employees, so I need a bigger space to be able, or I'm working inside of the home.
Manufacturer or something?
Yeah, like, or you could tell them, like, you know, I need it for branding. You didn't see any of these things listed on. I'm like, wow, all these people writing it, and nobody's thinking to hire somebody else. The first thing I'm going to do, I don't care if it's an assistant. I need somebody because I'm doing everything myself. And then I'm giving somebody else work to do. It's Amber Alert.
Let's pray for her.
Yeah, so I'm giving somebody else the opportunity to have a job, because a lot of people did lose jobs. A lot of companies are still not open, so I'm gonna think outside the box. I'm gonna give employment to somebody else. You give me some, I'm gonna scratch somebody else back. But you don't have people that think like that. And I see on social media, like every day, people like, oh, is this grant out here? But you're not telling them. You're telling them to go apply for the grant. You're not telling them the steps to do nothing. And it was just like prime example with the Capital One grant. It was $10K. I seen so many people resharing it. One of the questions that they asked, like people was hitting me up. They like, Meesha, it just opened because it opened at midnight.
I don't be knowing, and I wish I did, because I need like $2,000. Look.
Yeah, so I'm like telling them, I'm like, they like, Meesha, it keep telling me not letting me go further. So I told him, I said, the reason why it's not letting you go further because your organization was not open. They said, was your business open between this date and this date? So that means you're not listening, or you're not reading, or whatever you're doing. Reading is fundamental. So you got to pay attention. So a lot of people was getting that error message, and they like, well, why am I getting it? I was like, because your business wasn't established during the time that they're looking for. So now what's going to happen? A lot of people went in and changed the date. What they don't realize is that Capital One is a top industry, $1 billion company. Yeah. They got time to look for the Secretary of State.
They got time.
A lot of time. So I tell people, they're going to go to the Secretary of State, so your application going to get denied anyway. Why be dishonest? Something else might come your way. And I tell people, like, even like looking at different things like the Amber Grant has gotten smart. They help women entrepreneurs with grants. They give like $25K.
Oh, I need
But they
them.
charge you.
Damn.
But it's only $15. But everybody ain't gonna want to pay that $15 because they want everything $15. And they ask you tricky questions just to try to get you to really think about it. It's all about, I tell people, like, those questions think. Like, okay, seriously, what would I do the honest way? Like, think about it. I know what I would do. Right.
I need that.
I tell people all the time, like, pay attention. It don't take nothing but attention. You could get 10, 20,000 on a grant, but you got to pay attention. You got to have the supporting documents. If they come to you later, like, it's like an investor come to you. Right. And they like, MJ, I want to come to you and I want to do the X, Y, and Z. I'm going to put up all the money, like all the funding. You can pay me back one or two ways. You
Shark
can
Tank.
That's what
Shark
it
Tank.
is.
I'm a Shark Tank chick.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, my mom is she was definitely giving me that when she was trying to invest in me, and she was giving me like all these things, and I wasn't even thinking like of any ways. That was when I first moved here, and then now I'm trying to reinvest in my brand, my business, and now I'm like, okay, I gotta do this all these other ways. You just don't think. Because when I started my business, my business was Do Rag, which was my do rags, which will be coming back out. You guys stay tuned. Okay. And when I started looking for stuff and grants and stuff, I wasn't doing it right. I didn't get the EIN. I didn't get the business license. I didn't get nothing. I didn't do nothing right. So I'm just like, some things we need some financial literacy. We need some classes.
And another thing that people don't realize, and I tell a lot of my clients, they go get these LLCs, and I had made a proven point to like some clients that I had, and I was like asking them questions, and sometimes you got a whole bunch of people in the room, everybody want to be the smart person. So I was telling them, I said, let's think about this hypothetically. If you went to Google Walmart, it's gonna be a list of Walmarts that come up. Mm-hmm. Now, if you go Google Jimmy John's, and it was just one Jimmy John's, and it was ran out of the home. Mm-hmm. Just why are you not structuring your business like you're $1 billion industry? Right. So I've been like looking at people, like, people think that a LLC protects everything, but it doesn't. Mm-mm. Because if you die and you got kids, the business dies. Right. So I was telling somebody, I'm like, it's good to get an S corporation, a C corporation, because you get more tax write-offs. And I was telling somebody, I told somebody, I said, watch this. I looked up their business on the Secretary of State, right? And I said, I know your address. I knew it was a home address. I knew it wasn't a business because I had Googled it while they was just busy talking. I said the address. And they like, how you know where I live at? Mm-hmm. I'm like, because everybody can know where you live at. Somebody can Google your business on the Secretary of State and your address just came up, so I know where you live at. Wow. And a lot of people don't realize that. Right. The way you structure your business, you'll get more funding. You'll get all of these different avenues. But also, I tell people be like, well, my personal credit is messed up, so I really can't get anything. Yeah, you can. It's ways that you can do it. And while you're building on your business credit, you can actually go and start working on your personal credit. I don't mean go out here and play Lexington Law and all that money. Right. Like, it's real legit. People like my cousin, she do it. So I'm like, a lot of people, they don't want to pay for nothing. So you want to, 20 years from now, your business still stuck on this level because you don't have the mindset to say, I need to be building my personal credit. Let me go ahead and fix it. It's going to take some time. It's not an overnight thing. Just do it. Like, who don't want a house? Like, I want a house. I was telling them that on the live. I was like, I want to pull up. I want to be able to go to a dealership, and I don't mean like a little mom and pops. I want to go to like a real dealership. And cash
out. Like, what's up?
Cash out.
I don't even need you to run my credit. I got the cash right here. Just tell me how much.
Yeah. So it's like, why you don't want to have nothing that eventually, a house, that's the best investment because it's going to be yours.
People scared, just like people that move from like New York, they move here and they want to move in an apartment that's paying the same rent instead of paying for a house. It's the same thing. Exactly. It's the same thing. Like, when I first moved here, I moved here by myself. My best friend moved here. They just made a year. So I moved a year before them. And when they moved, we was trying to find an apartment. I'm like, girl, my sister do real estate. She's like, if you don't try to find a house, it's 3 of y'all, split the crib, make it cheaper that way. We ended up finding a crib. a house, front yard, backyard, and we spending what, $1,200, and y'all was spending that. They was charging us that for a 2-bedroom apartment,
and now it's worse.
It's but you might as well get you a house. Like, get you a house. I mean, I'm weird. I do want to do one of those like moving things, the moving trailers, and turn them into a house. I want to do one of those, or like a bus and turn it into a house, like a little tiny home. People say I'm weird, but I want to do it. They look fly. Like, I don't know if you ever seen one of them.
Yeah, I be watching, like, I tell people be like, on my downtime, I watch the, like, Fixer Uppers. I always wanted to be, like, one of them people. So
Fixer Upper house.
Yeah, I watch it a lot. So I'm looking at how dope they, like, take these houses and they be fucked up. And
a mess. Like, and you be like, wait a minute.
And then in the end, you like, you got a pool, you got this, you got that. And it should motivate people to get to another level, but it's sad to say,
scared.
Our own people, they like this, buying a pair of Jordans,
they
buying
comfortable.
a pair of they definitely complacent with where they at.
Yeah.
Or an entrepreneur, and they always complain like, oh, I just spent $5,000 on some
like,
product.
girl.
And it's like, when do you stop?
Right.
When do you want to grow? Do you really want to be an online business, or do you really want to grow to have stores everywhere? Look at people like Yandy that left New York and they come here and they living their best life.
You can't complain though. Like, you gotta use your mouth the right way. You can't complain about the blessings that you got, because it was a second that you didn't even have $5K to even spend. So some people complain about things, and it's like, you already in a step further than where you was at before. Don't complain, just work with the process. If you want better, do better. Like, some people don't.
I say it every day. I tell myself every day. But MJ, tell everybody how they can follow you, how they can get on the show.
Yes, I'm going to get you on the show, girl.
Okay.
Too. I'm going to get you on. I'm going to tap you in. As told by MJ, you can find me on Instagram. You can subscribe, free subscription, to Hip Hop Network TV, and you can see my first episode on there, as told by MJ _ on Instagram. You can find me on all platforms, your girl MJ. Yeah, YA girl MJ _ for my model page, business page. If you need me for fashion shows, pop-up shops, your hostess with the mostest, your turn up queen, and yeah, that's where you can find me. YouTube too, as told by MJ. Because I'm going to Hip Hop Network TV, I'm not as active on YouTube anymore, but yeah, tap in. That's where you can find me on all platforms.
Well, MJ, we really appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much.
You're the bomb.
Thanks. You guys tune in for our next episode for the Tea of the Future Millionaires.
Peace. Future Millionaires.
And come get rich with us. You gon' eat or you gon' starve.